Great.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ask the Sams Anything About Marriage. We are marriage mentors Jiva and Sulojana Sam. He's Jiva and I'm Sulojana. Yeah, sometimes people get confused. It's hard to tell with the names, I guess. So, anyways, so what we do is we guarantee breakthrough for couples on the brink of breakdown and in as little as 10 weeks. So please say hi to us in the comment section and let us know where you're watching from so that there'll be interaction between us, and it's good for us to know also to see where you're watching from.
Yeah. So we live stream simultaneously on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So whichever one you're watching from, can you please say hi? That way, we also it's a subtle way of us checking to make sure that we're actually live streaming on all three platforms. So for you to simply say hi in the comment section would be a tremendous help to us, so that we know that we're actually connecting with folks. And sometimes I have my phone here with me to look down and check, but today I didn't bring my phone with me. So we're relying on you to provide that. Okay. So how are y'all doing? So glad that you could join us today. And so I'm just going to do a very quick check. So we are live on LinkedIn, as far as I can tell. And until somebody from Facebook lets us know, then hopefully we're live on Facebook as well. Yes, we are. Okay, so that's awesome. So I think there we go. So we got Judy Malakin, all the way from Judy. You're from New Zealand or Australia? I know we shouldn't confuse those two great countries. It's like U.S. and Canada get confused a lot. I believe you're from New Zealand, right? So let us know, Judy, where you're watching us from.
Yeah, hi,
Judy. Of course, it's probably morning there for you, right? It's 7 o'clock Eastern time here in Canada, where we are.
Thursday morning.
It'll be Thursday morning for you. Yeah. So glad you could join us. Who else is with us today? Say hi, friends. So we know
let
that.
Let us know where you're watching from also. That will be good.
Yeah. So we know that we're not just here crying out a lone voice in the wilderness. All right. So yeah. So we do this every Wednesday night from 7 to 7:45 p.m. Eastern time. And you are in Australia, but you're born in New Zealand. Okay. Hey, Rhonda Kennelly. Yeah. Another friend from Canada. Rhonda, you guys moved, so you need to tell me where you are right now. I know where you guys used to live, so let us know. I know you're still in Ontario, and great to have you on board. And Carol Elliott, our good friend and partner in our ministry. Yeah, so Carol's with us, and Neil's with you too, Judy. Wonderful. Neil and Judy are great friends with Peter Kumar. That's how I first got to meet them, and prophesied over them a few times. And so wonderful to have you guys, very anointed in what they do. And of course, Rhonda, you're in the cottage right now, and yeah, about to build a new home. I remembered that. I know that. I just didn't remember it in time. Yeah, good memory, but the recall sometimes can take a little long, right? Okay.
Awesome.
I was chatting with your good friend Donna Biss from California the other day. So yeah. All right. So friends, the last couple of weeks, we've been telling you about a contest, a challenge that we're running. And so we are going to play you a short video explaining the contest, and then we will maybe talk a little bit about it, and then get right into our topic. By the way, our topic today, maybe we should quickly introduce that, is really about, so I'm going to explain it to everybody what we're talking about today.
Yeah, we are going to talk about the difference between men and women, in different categories. So we will mention that, how we are different, so that When we know how we react differently, then we understand each other, and yeah, our relationship will be better
Yeah.
also when you understand.
Yeah. So one of the things we'd like you to do, for those of you who are joining us new or for the first time, or first or second time, we love to have the sessions really interactive. We don't want to be talking heads, just talking all the time. We'd love to include what you have to contribute. And so, right now, the question to you is: what are some differences that stand out for you, maybe in your own marriage, between you and your spouse, or it could be just a general observation that you've generally found that men are this way, women are that way. What are some of those contrasts? We're going to have some fun with that today. All right. But first, let's do this little commercial. Okay, so here we are. Hi,
Hi,
we're
we're
marriage
marriage
mentors
mentors
Jiva and
Jiva and
Swajna
Swajna
Sam.
Sam.
We are
We are
challenging
challenging
all of
all
you
of you
married
married
couples
couples
to
to
flip the
flip the
script
script
on
on
your
your
spouse.
spouse.
What does
What does
that mean,
that mean,
Swajna?
Swajna?
You
You
surprise your
surprise your
spouse
spouse
by
by
doing
doing
something
something
that
that
they
they
would
would
normally
normally
do.
do.
Jiva, you
Jiva, you
could
could
flip the
flip the
script
script
by
by
doing the
doing the
laundry
laundry
just
just
once.
once.
What?
What?
And
And
Swajna,
Swajna,
if you
if you
made
made
breakfast
breakfast
even
even
one
one
day,
day,
you'd be
you'd be
flipping the
flipping the
script
script
too.
too.
Get the
Get the
idea,
idea,
friends?
friends?
Flip the
Flip the
script
script
on
on
your
your
spouse.
spouse.
Then
Then
tell us
tell
how
us
you
how you
did
did
it
it
in
in
writing
writing
with a
with a
picture or a
picture or a
video
video
if
if
possible
possible
by
by
midnight
midnight
Pacific
Pacific
time on
time on
Tuesday,
Tuesday,
May the
May the
4th,
4th,
2021.
2021.
On
On
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
May the
May the
5th,
5th,
at
at
7
7
p.m.
p.m.
Eastern,
Eastern,
we
we
will
will
draw
draw
one
one
winner
winner
for a
for a
$50
$50
Uber
Uber
Eats
Eats
gift
gift
card
card
during
during
our
our
Ask the
Ask the
Sense
Sense
Anything
Anything
About
About
Marriage
Marriage
live
live
stream.
stream.
Let's
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 flip
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 the
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 script.
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 All right. How'd you like that, eh? Took us about 14 tries to get that one. But we had fun doing it, kind of wearing some of our Indian outfits and so on. So the flip the script challenge is on right now, and all you got to do is to do something that will. It was kind of ties in with what we're talking about, because in some ways, we get into these roles, right?
Yeah,
Of
that's
ways
right.
that, and like these days we don't really call them male roles and female roles. It's just roles that we kind of fall into, or whatever works well for us. But when
Or
we
whatever you're good at.
whatever you're good at, yeah, or sometimes circumstances,
And that's right, the
demand.
timing.
Yeah,
Timing.
yeah. So maybe you have a baby and you're on paternal leave. Well, of course you're going to do a lot more, stuff around the house and with the baby and stuff, in what normally only the women used to do for a long time, right? And so it's not we're not perpetuating any stereotypes. And we want to make a little disclaimer today before we get into our topic, that we may be generalizing at times, and actually let me just say we will be generalizing at times, and we always recognize that there are exceptions to everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
When we say men generally tend to be, there could be quite a few men that can say, no, I'm not that way at all. Or women are this way generally. So please understand that we don't want to perpetuate any stereotypes. We're going with what we have understood. And also, one of the things that we've discovered is that, like, there's a lot of scientific research that has been done, and a lot of observation, of people. People have written books. We quoted 3 books in our promo for today, the post that we put up there. And Slojana, do you remember the 3 books?
One is Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. That's an old book.
Yeah, that's a classic.
But it's
you don't
really
say
good.
old, you say classic.
Classic.
and it really is. Okay,
Yeah.
because when it came out, we were still alive, by the way. Actually, we're probably in our late 20s, early 30s
Yeah.
when we first read it.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
so that's a few decades back.
So that's one book.
Yeah. And another book that we've been giving our couples.
Yeah. Men Are Like Waffles and Women Are Like Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
a
that's
really good,
yeah.
funny one.
And that one, John Gray's book is very academic. Actually, is very well annotated. It's not from any kind of faith perspective, whereas the Farrells, Bill and Pam, who wrote um,
Manna like
waffles
waffles
and
and
spaghetti. We call it the waffles and spaghetti book. They come from a faith perspective.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then many of you might be familiar with this one. This is a new book to us, actually, even though we've heard people talk about.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you can see it, it's Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage. And that's by
Mark Gunger.
right.
Okay. And he's funny. If you ever watched
He's
any
got some
videos,
videos.
yeah. If you don't get a chance to buy the book, at least go watch his videos. He's like a Christian comedian.
Yeah. It's a good one for a date night.
Yes, yeah. I think you just gave away what we're doing this date night, right? Yeah. So anyway, all of these three books, in their own way, highlight some of those differences.
Mhm.
And one of the things I've read about a third of Mark Gunger's book, and he basically says that sometimes we think that all these differences are because of social conditioning, like the way in which we were raised, the country in which we were raised,
Mhm.
or the ethnicity into which we were born, and the culture that we got used to. But Mark Gunger says very clearly that a lot of this is actually like biological. This is proven,
Mhm.
and of course, from a faith perspective, we would say this is the way that we were created,
Mhm.
right? And so God, like in Genesis 1, it says very clearly that God created humankind,
Mhm.
you know, in His image, male and female, He created them. Okay, so God, built those differences into us when we were created, and so we have to honor those differences. I think that's the whole point of us even going to this area, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was going to say with Adam and Eve, Adam was supposed to till the ground and um, bring food, provide, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And not all men are gardeners now either.
No, certainly not. What are you looking at me
So,
for?
so,
She says, not all men are gardeners, and she looks at me. Hello.
so things have changed.
But I mean, there's physiologically, of course, there are huge differences, which just the way it is. I know we used to talk about women as the weaker sex, and that was not a put down. That was simply accounting for the fact that physically, that's the way. Generally speaking, men tend to be stronger and are able to do the tasks
Mhm.
that women are not built to do. And again, exceptions. There are women that can outdo any man. Okay, I had classmates in university that could outdrink any guy under the table. Anyway, so when we ask the question, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
You say?
before we start, I was going to say, I'm glad we have those differences. We don't want everybody to be the same. How boring would that be, right? So
Exactly.
that's why God created us male and female, and the different, different personality, the characters.
Yeah.
And we are supposed to, complement each other,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Mark Gunger, he puts it this way that men and women are not created equal.
Mm.
Okay, and no, now just before you throw stones at me, let me just say that we are equal before God. That we're all children of God, and so our status is in status we are equal, right? We all bear the image of God, so in that sense we are equal.
Yeah, sons and daughters.
Exactly. However, we're not created to be equal, in every way. There are, as theologian says, wonderful differences. And one of the things that we found, when we started doing our marriage mentorship, is that people were coming into the mentorship, and like we try to understand why did they get to this place where they are, where they seek us out. Like what are some of the reasons why they are in this kind of conflict, not able to get along, and like clearly not understanding each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it became very obvious to us, after we worked with a few couples. This was not an early discovery, was it? We
No.
didn't start doing this right
Yeah.
off the bat.
Hmm.
As we kept going, we began to realize that some of the reasons for the discord, in the marriage, the lack of unity, and like conflicts that could not be resolved, and so on, was simply because of lack of understanding. How we function differently, simply because one is male and one is female.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
and so again, like, not to perpetuate stereotypes, but when we fully don't understand each other as male and female, then, or let me put it positively, when we fully understand, what it means to be a male, what it means to be a female, what makes us tick,
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
males and females, then we have greater harmony.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we lead
Exactly.
to misunderstand.
Yeah.
So, Slojana, maybe you can talk about one of the best things that we've talked about over the years, from Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray's book, is about the cave.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so share about the cave.
Yeah. The first time I read that book, it was that's many years ago. That's the first time I realized the big difference between men and women. That is, when men exhausted, tired, and come
Under
home from
stress.
under stress, home from work, all they want to do is, they want to be quiet. Well, he said they want to go into their caves. So, once I read that, so what he said is, just leave them alone. They'll come out of the caves. So for them, they need that time to process things.
Yeah.
And
It's like
yeah,
a bear that hibernates. It doesn't stay there for long. It just stays there for a season. Then the bear comes out, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that was an eye opener for me. And I know Jiva used to, when our children were little, he would come home, and that's all he wanted to do: sit on the couch and just be quiet, and be left alone for a little while. And then he was fine.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
cave story.
Now, in that example that Slojana used, there's actually a few more things that are very significant. And the pharaohs in the Waffles and Spaghetti book, they talk about how when they talk about waffles, that means that men compartmentalize everything.
Mm.
Mark Gungor hits on this as well. He talks about men having in their brain something called the nothing box. And so, Slojana says to me, "What are you thinking about?" Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And it's like, no, no, no. How can you be thinking about nothing? Why? Because she's more like the spaghetti. There's like, woo, all sorts of circuits that are going back and forth, through and through all the time. And for and like, we're very typical of what is described in the book,
Yeah,
aren't we?
that's true.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys may not be in your marriage, but in our marriage, that's the way it is. Like, Slojana is the typical spaghetti. She can move effortlessly from one topic to another. Like, hey, I was just talking to our friend Barb down the road, and did you know that they got a great sale on at the shoe warehouse? And by the way, your dad called. You need to call him back. And yeah, and I think Satya actually is going to drop by in a while. And it's like for me, that's like 4 different compartments in the waffle. For her, it's spaghetti. So it's like, effortlessly. And so one of the things that this is, again, physiologically, biologically proven, is that when men focus on something, they zoom in on that one thing. And that's why a husband and wife can go to a party, or even like a wedding reception or something like that, and the guy sees something, he makes a beeline for that person, his old buddy, hey Charlie, how are you? And in the meantime, as he's going to Charlie, there's his other best buddy Brian waiting, but he never sees Brian. Okay, whereas the wife, she knows he's way out there, but it takes her 25 minutes to get there.
Then we talk to everybody along the way.
Yeah, and And one of the things, like I think it's Mark Junker that points out, is that women tend to have more of a peripheral vision.
Yeah.
So you see everything happening, on the side, whereas the guy is like, looking straight ahead. And that's one of the reasons why also when you have children, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, you can have 17 kids, and the wife will know what every one of them is doing, and the guy is saying, "Go Packers, go! Go Packers, go!" He's focused on the only thing that's in front of him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah. I was thinking of a washroom story. I don't know if it's the same. It's connected. So, anyways, when women be at work or when we
like a
out,
public bathroom.
yeah,
Yeah,
we want to go to the washroom. We go in a group. We visit, and we come out laughing and talking.
yeah,
But the guys, they go,
yeah. Well, a guy never says to his buddy, "Hey, you want to go to the bathroom with me?" If a guy said to the buddy, the buddy might, start to wonder, whereas that's a very natural thing to do. Same thing with guys. We go to the bathroom, we do our business, we're out of there. And in the meantime, so like we go to a mall. This actually has happened to us. I go to the men's room, she goes to the women's room, and like I'm waiting out there for 17 minutes. And it's like, like hopefully everything's okay with your stomach. You were there a long time. Had nothing to do with your stomach. She did the same thing that I did. But well, I met this nice lady. She got a cute little baby. We got talking. And then on my way out, somebody else came, and that this woman that used to come to our church. Yeah, it was her. And it's like, hello, you went to the bathroom to do business. Okay, but very
yeah,
very relationship oriented, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Women
Yeah.
tend to be more sensitive to that.
Yeah.
And maintaining relationships, whereas we men tend to be very task oriented, and that's why sometimes in a workplace, a man can alienate coworkers very easily, because you're just worried about getting the project done on time. You don't care whose egos are bruised along the way. Whereas women tend to be more empathetic,
Mm,
and
yeah.
to the feelings, as well as to get the job accomplished.
Mm.
Okay, again, there are exceptions to every rule, because I've heard women complain about their bosses, so I know they're female bosses, so I know that not women, all women are like that. But these are some significant ways.
Mhm.
So then let's maybe talk a little bit about in the marriage setting.
Mhm.
How do these differences crop up? Hey friends, by the way, we're doing all the talking. We'd like you to do some talking too. So give us your answers about
Maybe mention again.
yeah,
What
what
answer?
yeah, like we tell us in what way you and your spouse are different, or in what way, uh, you know in your observation. It may not be
Mhm.
about your own marriage. So when you put something down,
Exactly.
we're not going to automatically assume it's your marriage, but just your general observations of how you find that men and women are different, and how that can create some interesting situations, in terms of your relationship.
Or some of you who are single also, maybe you have watched your parents. Did they, how were they different? Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm. Anna, thank you for the question. We'll save that for another time, okay? Or we'll communicate with you uh, privately about that. We're going to try and stay on topic as much as we can today. Talking about the differences, in the way that men and women relate to each other in a marriage. But that's a great question. We will definitely attack that another time. Okay. So, in what way, Judy? That's a great statement. We're totally opposite. Tell us maybe one way in which you're both opposite, right? Okay, Randolph has a comment.
I have to tell Gemma one thing at a time.
Okay, yeah, and so this is a really good point, Randolph, because as a rule,
Hmm.
women are very good at multitasking.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes Slojan will tell me to do something, and I wouldn't have it done, and then she'll say, "I forgot. You're a man. You don't multitask, do you?" and we both laugh. I don't take that as a put down in any way, just as the way it is. Whereas in earlier days when we had babies and so on, she could be on the phone placing an order for her Amway business. With one kid hanging on to her legs, and she'd be talking to him at the same time, or assuring him sometime. And we had a long telephone cord, so she could walk over to the kitchen and check what was cooking on the stove. And at the same time, her hearing is much better than, this is a proven fact. Women have much better hearing than men, so she could at the same time hear what was happening, with the washing machine in the basement. And she could say, "Jiva, go check I think the clothes need to be moved to the dryer." And in the meantime, "Oh, hi, Ed," and she's going on with the order, like effortlessly multitasking. For me, that would be about an hour and 15 minutes worth of work. Because you can do only one at a time, right? So this presents itself with some interesting situations. Now it's awesome that that's in Slotra in this case, one is able to multitask because she gets a lot of things done. She's very efficient, in getting it done.
Or at least when the kids were little, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
And Randolph had a good point. If you want it done, write it down.
Yeah.
If your husband has trouble, multitasking or doing many things that you tell them, write it down. Put it on a piece of paper, then it's there.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Now, Judy and Neil say something here. Neil wants to camp in tent. I want to stay in a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
So we do both to keep each other happy. Again, our preferences, are very different. Now, again, there's a bit of a male-female here because, men, tend to want to do these rugged, outdoorsy kind of things. Again, not all men, not me. I prefer to do all my camping in 5-star hotels. Okay, at least 3-star.
Yeah, I'm not much for camping.
So definitely.
I don't think.
Yeah, for camping at all. So our kids, if our kids are camping, it's a totally learned and acquired taste. We as parents had nothing to do with introducing them to it. All right, and so we have different, preferences. Priorities, in terms of, what needs to get done first, and so on. Again, a lot of it, and let's get back to communication a little bit, because I think that's one of the areas where, we find that there's a lot of issues, difficulties that show up
in the marriage,
the marriage, just the way that we communicate. And one of the things, actually, when I put this question on LinkedIn, I'm just going to switch to my notes for a little bit, if I don't look at you straight. One of our LinkedIn connections, Mark Bentcover, actually gave us some great responses. And so one of the things that he mentioned in terms of communication is how men can be so logical that all they want is the facts. Yeah. And so they just go by the facts. So men, if you want to solve something, go online. Get the facts. You want to make a decision? Here are the facts. It's going to save us this kind of money over the next 3 years, and so this investment is good. Like, you're completely going on a logical level, whereas the women, as a rule, tend to provide a larger context. Okay, and so this actually happened. Is it today or yesterday? This morning, I said to Sulojana, our cappuccino maker, which is about 15 years old, is, I kind of feel like, it's kind of served us well because it's not working properly. So let me go on Amazon and find one and order one. And what did you say?
No, let's look at our budget, lots of other things to look at, and then we'll decide.
Yeah. See, so she sees the bigger context in that particular situation. Now, I know the exact opposite can happen as well, because I know cases where, where the wife has wanted to buy something, and the accountant type guy, husband, if he's the saver of the family, he'll usually pull out a spreadsheet and say, according to this, that's not going to happen this month.
That's one.
So forget about it. Yeah, I think, according to my calculations, okay, let me do a quick projection here. In about 3.5 months, we'll have enough saved up for that. Then you can go get that dress, okay? But that's past the wedding. Well, find something else for the wedding, okay? Yeah. So when men, as a rule, tend to make decisions based on logic,
Mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
Whereas women also provide the emotional context, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I was going to say, women, I'm going to talk from my perspective. Women, when we have a problem, we want to, talk it out with our husband, and we want them to be empathetic, sympathetic
Mhm.
uh, towards what we are saying. We are not really looking for a solution for
Yeah.
them. They want to provide the solution. For us, is that the listening ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we
Yeah.
want somebody to listen
Yeah.
and
Again,
get
you're
emotional.
you're highlighting another difference because men, as a rule, tend to be problem solvers.
Yeah.
So when our wives, present us with a problem, then what do? We immediately come up with a solution. And like Slojan said, what she was looking for is not a solution. She was just looking to say, oh, poor baby. That must be so tough.
Yeah.
Okay. So she, when she doesn't get that from me, then what does she do? She gets on the phone,
Call somebody else.
calls a girlfriend or friends, maybe 7 of them, and and shares that because she needs to talk it out,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
need to talk it out. Whereas guys, we don't have the same need, to be able to talk it out
Mm.
and get some consensus, on things, and so that can cause communication
Yeah,
issues in a
exactly.
marriage if
So,
we don't understand that.
mhm,
Just
mhm,
like the man cave that you talked about earlier, Swazna.
mhm.
If when a wife understands that that's the way the man, her husband is coping with what's going on, he just needs that time away.
Yes.
And so, but if she doesn't know that it's part of his, man cave tendency, then what does she think? Oh, you don't want to talk to me. You don't want to deal
Mm.
with the issue.
Mm.
You're avoiding the issue. What can I, like, hey, get out of there right now. We're going to talk it out right now. Okay. Uh, Whereas, if you give the guy, his time to be in the cave, he goes in like a bear and he comes out like a pussycat. Okay. He's, all smiles because, has had time to process everything, and now he's ready to talk. And so we need to appreciate those differences. And same
Mhm.
thing, like when if Solozna wants to talk out a problem and she gets into it, like I can't just look at that, she's no verbal diarrhea all over again. She just kept on dump it on me. No, it's like no, that's the way she's processing it out loud.
Mhm.
Whereas I'm more inclined to process things in silence. Okay.
So the best thing, when your wife is talking, or she's going through a challenge, is the best thing is to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't give a solution right away. Just
Yeah.
listen, and whatever emotion she's looking for, that's what you give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lisa, that's a good point.
Mhm.
I used to think that he should know what I needed.
Mhm.
Yeah, you think, and you know why? This happens. Women are very intuitive.
Mm.
Okay, as a matter of fact, sometimes we guys think our wives are mind readers
Mm.
because someone will come in and say, "So what are you thinking about?" Um, Nothing. Uh, oh, um, I think like you're thinking about buying that thing, aren't you? Well, no.
Yeah,
She's
we
very
can.
intuitive. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And so because she's intuitive, like here's the thing that I think Lisa's example is pointing out,
Mhm.
that because women can be more intuitive, you expect your husband to also to be that intuitive and read your mind or pick up on signals and
Mm.
so on. Actually, Mark Gungor says there's a difference. Like what we often look at call intuition is actually interpretation. In other words, he says because of this peripheral vision because of the women's powers of observation and so on. Your wife can figure out what's going on, or even with the children. The children don't have to cry. She'll say that kid is sick, or that kid is upset, whatever. Whereas a guy quite often is clueless as to what's going on. So that kind of intuition or interpretation of those signals and stimuli. So you expect your husband. Well, why couldn't you figure that one out? You know, you couldn't tell by the way I looked, by the way I was sitting.
I've said that.
Absolutely, yeah. And so again, we need to make allowance, for these kind of differences. Otherwise,
Or like Lisa is saying, communicating is the key, no matter how simple it is. And it might be simple for us, but maybe, your husband, didn't get that.
Yeah. And so we never want to assume that, our spouse is going to respond the same way that we do.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, some of it could be conditional responses. Like a lot of times, we tend to, reflect our parents. And so if you grew up in a family where, your father was not very communicative openly with your mother, you think that's normal. But as a rule, generally speaking, men are not that communicative. And so to be able to understand that, would be a very, very, significant thing for what's happening in your marriage, right? Yeah. What else, Lojana? In terms of communication, I think sharing feelings is another one, isn't it?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So generally speaking, again, no stereotyping. Women tend to feel more comfortable expressing feelings.
Yeah.
Whereas guys can be very stone faced, stoic, and it can come across as being uncaring, unsympathetic. Okay. And whereas and also sometimes men can be intimidated when women express their feelings. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sometimes don't know what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, that's why they came up with the feeling wheel.
Yeah, we give people a feeling wheel, right?
What's that?
Yeah, we give couples a feeling wheel.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know what we are talking about, when couples come to our marriage mentorship, one of the steps we teach them, one of the process is conflict resolution.
Yeah.
Right. And there, you have to know how your partner is feeling. So we found a feeling wheel. Is that what it's
Feeling
called?
wheel, yeah.
Feeling wheel. Yeah. So it has. You can. I think if you Google, you'll find it. So if you have difficulty expressing your feelings to your spouse, that would be a good one to look at, and it's very helpful.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So we've pointed out a few differences. I'm just going to go and check Mark Bencower's responses. Yeah, he says women tend to collaborate more, men tend to go it alone.
Just like we talked about the washroom.
Yeah. And also like even in doing things together, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Sometimes men just don't want any help. Even if you offer to help, they just want to do, what they want to do on their own.
Yeah, just like giving directions. Men can get lost, but they don't want to ask for directions.
That's a big one. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Carol's got something here. What does Carol say? We both can be hurt by lack of understanding our differences. Emotions can be frightening, especially for men.
I see.
Very true. Yeah.
That's the
yeah. But that's the funny thing that Sloan said about lost men. Like this has happened to us before we had all this GPS and stuff like that, right? You would say, "Are you sure we're going the right way?" Yes, I am. Okay. I thought we were supposed to be here like an hour and a half ago. Okay. Trust me. Okay. How about we stop somewhere and ask for directions? No.
Yeah. And then an hour later, we find out we are going the wrong way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
So
anyway,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm just kind of thumbing through Mark Unger's book. So we're just going to finish with this because we're kind of getting to our closing time. So
Wow.
he's talking about some of the differences. Okay, and again, um, don't take everything as a stereotype. But I'm just going to kind of close with these statements because they're very good. He says some of the differences: men have sex, women make love. Men like things, women like people. When women get lost, they ask for directions. Men don't get lost. Getting lost would make a man look stupid. A man may take a scenic route, which adds travel time, but men don't get lost. Men are hunters, women are gatherers. Men protect, women nurture. And men and women even have different brain structures. We think differently, believe differently, handle stress differently, and behave differently. But here's the key: a loving, intimate marriage relationship will leave room for gender differences without making the assumption that the other is wrong. Okay, and so that's the key. Just because we're different, we don't assume that the other person is wrong.
Mhm.
Okay, uh,
I was going to say the worst thing you could do is try and change your spouse to be the person like you are. You don't want to do that at all. You can't. You can try, but you're not going to do that, and you don't want to. I feel like it's once you understand the difference between men and women in general, you'll be flexible and you'll appreciate those differences also.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Judy Malakin asked for the name of the book. So this is the book that by Mark Gungor that I've been quoting from a little bit. Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage. Great book. It's funny. He actually has a statement here. I'm going to quickly read it because you just mentioned this. When a man falls in love with a woman, his thoughts go something like this: I love her. She's great. In fact, she's perfect. I love her just the way she is, and I hope she never changes. On the other hand, when a woman falls in love with a man, her thoughts are generally something like this: I love him, he's great, but he really needs some work. And I'm going to help him. I'm going to help make him the kind of man that he can be. And, recipe for disaster. I don't know who that, I think it was Charlie Tremendous Jones that had a statement. He said, people who try to change each other end up exchanging each other. Ooh, that's bad, right? Yeah. So anyway, appreciate each other's differences. Understand them first of all. If you're not sure, then any one of these three books, Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus. That's the old classic. And then we have Men Are Like Waffles.
Women Are Like Spaghetti.
Yeah.
And the other one is
Yeah.
Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage.
Yes. Yeah.
By Mark Gungor.
Gungor. Okay. The last two are written from a Christian perspective, whereas Men Are from Mars is although there's nothing there that will contradict the Christian faith, it is really it's more of a general, and I don't know if John Gray is actually a person of faith or not, but the book is not particularly written from a faith perspective. All right,
but it's the facts.
Yeah.
And,
again, well researched. Like any book, friends, of this nature, you can always, pick a bone with some of the things that are being said.
I know.
Yeah. And they're written with the best understanding that somebody had at that particular moment.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And, you use the scriptures and whatever God's teaching you through that and through the scriptures and just combine them and work it the way into your marriage.
Yeah.
Like Holy Spirit is leading you.
Yeah.
And you'll have a good marriage.
And God clearly made us, different. We're not equal, created equal. We're created different, right? And so, when like all the things that Paul talks about, be patient with each other, if at all possible, be at peace with one another. All these things, can happen when we understand and appreciate those differences and make room, make allowance for them.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. With each other. Okay. So, boy, the time has really flown by today.
Mm.
And so, again, we just want to remind you, just do our commercial here one more time, that we have a challenge going right now. So, just listen to this, watch the challenge video for a minute, and then we will
Okay.
finish. Oops. I think I lost it. Okay. So, sorry, I somehow hit the wrong button. But basically, we have a challenge going right now, and the challenge is called Flip the Script. So,
Mhm.
Slojan, what does flip the script mean?
Yeah. So you just surprise your spouse by doing something that they normally do, and yeah, surprise them. And then you send us a video or written testimony story about it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Whatever
Yeah,
form,
yeah.
video,
Get it to us by
written,
this coming Tuesday at midnight Pacific time,
and then
and then we will do a draw at our session next week. That's the first thing we're going to do in our session next time is we're going to do a draw,
the
and
winner
winner gets a
$50 Uber Eats
gift
gift
card.
certificate. Yeah,
Yeah, gift
gift
card,
card.
no matter where you're at. Okay, so we'll give you the equivalent of $50 if you're not located, in North America. And so, yeah, but have fun with it. Okay, surprise your spouse, and some of it, like we've been doing some things that are fairly simple
Yeah,
and subtle.
nothing major.
Yeah, yeah.
Not like somebody mowed the lawn. Usually their husband does it, so he went out. So surprised her husband by mowing the lawn, and when he came home, he was so surprised that he drove up the curb.
You draw up the curve. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you don't have to do anything, like that extraordinary.
Yeah,
Like we were just having breakfast, here. I don't know if it was yesterday, maybe, and Slojan normally, takes
clears the
the
table.
clears the table, and I flip the
Yeah,
script
he's
on her,
surprised me.
but yeah, which again, like it's not a
Yeah, it was a
great
simple.
accomplishment. But it was a subtle way, a small way that I was trying to flip the script.
Yeah, if Jiva does the laundry, that will be a
I'm kind of getting this hint over and over again about the laundry. So I may have to flip the script on that and do the laundry this weekend. Okay. But anyway, friends, have fun. Like it's a way to spice up your marriage, right? Do something that you wouldn't normally do. Surprise your spouse when you do it, and then tell us about it. Because we also want to share these ideas with others.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why we're doing this challenge, so that somebody may, gee, how would I do that? Well, your idea will help them to do that. All right. So, how do you get that to us? Just direct message us, no matter what medium you're watching on. Send us a direct message on Facebook and LinkedIn. That's very easy. I think on YouTube, you can still send us a message, and so we will get that. We'll put all the names in the draw, and then we're looking forward to giving away that Uber Eats card
So
next week.
So you've got 1 week, right?
Yeah, so you got exactly 1 week to put your thinking cap on and do something that'll flip the script. Okay, all right. So, Suloja, let's close with prayer.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this time that we were able to share, Lord. And Holy Spirit, thank you for guiding us throughout this session, right from the beginning, for the different pointers we were able to discuss with our audience. And Father, I pray that all the things that we talked about, the differences between men and women, you created us as male and female right from the beginning, and you made us different, and help us understand each other's differences and appreciate those differences, and help us also, Lord, be flexible, complement each other, especially in our marriages, so that we can live in peace, live in unity, and at the same time show respect and appreciate and love each other, just as you have shown us to love. Father, we thank you and praise you. Be with us, Lord, for the rest of the week and each and every day. And I pray, Father, that our relationship with our spouse will be a blessing to your kingdom and bring glory to your name. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Yes.
Please join us and invite some friends to join us as well. And we hope that you're the one that wins the gift